If you get the smartest person you know with the highest level of IQ and you invite that person to come to your organization, and next morning the person is in your office and you say, welcome and please transform my company. What do you think are the chances of that person being able to transform your company? Most of these LLMs have crossed the benchmarks, which are typically a PhD level. And people are trying to use these models like the most intelligent person with zero knowledge of your organizational context, system, processes. And that's the real challenge of having a AI POC at an individual level and being able to generate a value out of AI at a large scale enterprise level. Use case picking, putting the right priorities is very important. And one is how do you pick, but it's also important what do you do with them. One very simple way to think about this is if you can think in a two-dimensional matrix of the impact or a use case is bringing in and on the other side of feasibility. Right? There's a high degree of impact that a use case can create, and there is a high chance of a feasibility. There is a lot of evidence in the market. There's a lot of evidence where it can show that this use case has a great potential to happen. That means you need to be really, really strategic about it. You're going to put your best resources, best people, best partners on that pilot. I would say go with a strategic pilot and have a very strong monitoring there so that you can quickly go and scale it. Now, if it is low impact, but still very highly feasible, it is very obvious and it doesn't need a lot of thinking because it's too obvious to use that and it's going to give a value. It is a good productivity enhancement, but it's not really transformation. You don't have to put too much energy in thinking about it. You just need to try to scale that and get the benefits, because the benefits of such a use case are going to come when it scales and it gets adopted. Whereas there are other cases, which are lots of them, where there is a lot of impact, but feasibility is unknown, right? And that's where you want to truly do a POC, where you want to really identify, do we have a way to make it work? Is it really gonna give that much impact that our hypothesis is saying? And that's where you do a POC, where you are very quick in identifying, in understanding those results and taking a decision whether you want to move it to any other bucket or you want to shelf it for now, right? And it is okay to shelf it. As a leader, saying no is the hardest part. And for any prioritization process, the companies and the leaders who are able to identify where to say yes and where to say no are the ones who are gonna generate value out of this AI. And then there is an obvious one where low feasibility and low impact, and there will be lots of them, and you'll be surprised in our organization how many of such ideas come in, and many of them are driven because of the new model that has come, or someone's friend is doing it, or some company is doing it, and you need to defer them. You have limited resources, you have a limited time. You need to prioritize those in this framework, I think. One of my favorite ways in your enterprise, if you get the smartest person you know with the highest level of IQ and you invite that person to come to your organization, and next morning the person is in your office and you say, welcome and please transform my company because you are the smartest. You have 24 hours, tell me 5 ideas and let's implement those. What do you think are the chances of that person being able to transform your company? Most of people would say almost zero. Why is that? And little bit that's what is happening with LLMs today. Most of these LLMs have crossed the benchmarks, which are typically a PhD level ones on any subject if you talk about, right? And people are trying to use these models like the most intelligent person with zero knowledge of your organizational context, system, processes, what's our way of doing things, what is the cultural nuance and things like that. And that's the real challenge of having an AI POC at an individual level and being able to generate a value out of AI at a large scale enterprise level. And the gap, I believe, is the context. How do you build and ensure there is a context of the organization which is embedded into various systems, which is embedded into various business processes, which is embedded in the heads of lot of people, lot of documentation and things like that. How do you make that context is available for AI systems to leverage upon, and then being able to do a value-oriented processes or use cases out of it? So I truly believe context is the new moat, not the models. And that's what we at Navera are trying to do today. A good example is that what Walmart did, right? Walmart named 3 super agents, one for the customer, one for the associates, one for internal business operations team. And what I think it did, it gave a language to the organization. There was an alignment within the organization. Okay, I'm talking about putting my agent or my workflow in Sparky. And once you do that, you have a certain processes. How do you measure your value? How do you do the impact analysis? What tools and technologies you can use? Who will be your stakeholder? Where the budget is gonna come from? How can you deploy? Which registry are you going to use, etc. So it just suddenly moves from an abstract idea of a AI vertical or abstract idea of I have to generate AI value to a more concrete language that organizations can use. And I think it's a very smart. Now, the same language cannot be used in any other organization. So you need to think, what is that language? What is that templatization that I need to do within my organization, which starts giving a multi-dimensional view for people to start aligning within the organization and following certain paths for value creation. Recently, what we did, we ingested all the code that was existing for a company, a pension company, which was about 25 years old code. And there was obviously no one in the organization who understood all the business rules that are there. The system was a core system of the organization. Now, as soon as we ingested that code and we built a big context ontology on top of it, suddenly the knowledge that was non-existent in the organization became accessible, became codified in the context graphs. And then there was a way for humans to interact with it, validate, and in fact, understand what is going on in this system, what are the business rules we are following. More important than that, there are all these AI systems and agents we could write on top of that context that were able to leverage this information and being able to become a lot more smarter and being able to do very value-oriented work. So it was not the model that made those AI agents or the organization suddenly go forward. It was this context and building this context and making it available to all humans as well as to the agents that made the fundamental change. Now imagine, you could have this context, you have another system which could relate to, and then you are increasing your context. You have these business processes that your organizations are running, and you have a video recording of that which can further expand this context. This context is the asset. This context is the moat. So talent is going through a great shift with AI. As someone pointed out, today it's easier to outsource your thinking, but what you cannot outsource is understanding, right? And it had a very deep impact on me as I was thinking about our own organizations and all the organizations I've worked with and the composition of the teams that is there. So the resources that are most useful today, number one, have a lot of understanding of what is going on and also have a lot of curiosity to understand it. It is very easy today to not understand things. And because a lot of thinking and intelligence is getting commoditized, so there is a lot of pre-built answers that are coming. But if you don't understand those answers and you are not able to connect this answer with the other tribal knowledge you have or the other answer you have got from other thing, and you're not able to connect these dots, you're not able to generate the value. So the talent that you need to operate in this new factory where AI is doing a lot of doing, the people need to do a lot of understanding and a lot of connecting of these dots. Now, how do you train your more fresh talent that is coming in the organization, which can understand things better. How do you train them? What skills you want to test them on, or what skills you want to prioritize them on in terms of their development, is where the whole game of new age talent and new age AI native companies composition will come from. Going back a little bit on the US templatization, one of the reasons I talk about templatizing all your use cases, for you to be able to generate a value out of this AI use case or any project, is when you are able to articulate what is the value, what is the objective, how you're going to measure it, right? And if it is a productivity oriented use case, then there is a certain template for that. There is the amount of investments that you're going to do, the savings that it is going to bring, whether the investments could be resources or tokens or whatever else, infrastructure, and what you trying to aim at in terms of a productivity, either increasing your throughput or reducing the costs that are going on right now, and being able to put the right milestones around that is one of the ways you do a good business case for a CFO and for your own stakeholders. But if it is a growth oriented, which is the KPI that you are chasing against, and what is that milestones for that KPI, and what is the investment going to go there, and that ability to have a good business case and good milestones and what assumptions these milestones are based on is very, very critical for the success.